Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for coming. I'm Charlene Burke, the president of the Westside Community Alliance, and tonight we've invited all of the candidates for Ward B, and all of them have come, with the exception, we probably have Denon Hill running late, but Ephraim, he was unable to come, so we have most of our candidates. And we have one other forum coming up, and that is on Thursday night, right here in the Gallo Room in Lincoln Park, just as we are this evening. So I thank you all again for coming. What I'm going to do is just now define what the rules are, and each of the candidates will introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about themselves for 90 seconds. Then, once all of them are completed with that, we will move to our questions. And we have as our moderator tonight, Esther Wintner, who is a neighborhood activist. Long time in Ward B, and certainly was part of Civic JC on the board, and now certainly interested in what the Ward B candidates have to say. So thank you again for coming, and we'll move to all of the candidates giving their opening introductions, beginning with Joel Brooks and moving across the table.
Maybe first here. Say the rules. Just want to come in as well.
Hi, everybody. My name is Joel Brooks, and it's just by habit running for Ward B City Council. I think you probably know that if you're here. We're all running for Ward B. I'm a dad. I have a 2-year-old little girl. My partner, Marisol, is a nurse. My day job is I'm a rep and organizer for the Healthcare Workers Union, HPAE. I ran in 2021 because I thought that Mayor Steve Fulop was not paying enough attention to the West Side. We ran a grassroots campaign, no corporate or real estate developer donations, and we came within 185 votes of winning. We actually got the most votes on election day. I'm very proud of that, our volunteer, our grassroots operation, and decided to run again because the West Side still needs attention. We still have roads that are undrivable. We still are stepping in dog poop. And on a more serious note, we still deal with real problems of physical safety. And I'm grateful that no law enforcement was injured last night on Bergen and Evie Avenue. So yeah, I'm grateful to the Westside Community Alliance, not association. Apologies, I said association in a video. For hosting this and for all of the other neighborhood associations, and I'm ballot position 3C.
Good evening. My name is Travis Heller, and like Joel just said, we're all running for Ward B. I'm a lone living resident of Jersey City. I grew up downtown in Booker T Projects. I went to Ferris High School, graduated from Ferris, also went to St. Anthony's High School. I'm a single dad. I raised my daughter as a single father in Jersey City by myself. I am a advocate for garbage pickup, an advocate for healthcare, and an advocate for youth empowerment. I'm also a city worker who've worked for the city for a long time, but for 20 years, I've worked as a paralegal assistant in the city of New York, but I'm always for Jersey City. I am grateful to be on this panel with a bunch of great people, and I'm also grateful for the advocacy of Ward B and everyone that is associated with it. And my whole output is to just be part of what Jersey City is about. Jersey City is about understanding, family, perseverance, and making sure that everyone in Jersey City has a fair shot. And this is the reason why I'm running for Ward B and multi other things. So thank you for this time.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lorena Loaiza, and I am a lifelong Westsider. I was born in Bolivia. However, I immigrated here to Fairmont Avenue with my family at the age of 3. And this is where I am raising my family. I attended Public School 17, Academy of St. Aloysius when it existed, which is now LCCS. And ultimately, I went to St. Peter's University. So for me, it was natural to start my career there, where I helped working families receive financial aid for over 13 years. After that, I transitioned to the McKinley Square Special Improvement District, where I worked with over 100 businesses and I helped them navigate the pandemic. I decided to run for council because this is my community and I love my community. I believe we have serious quality of life issues. We want to work on our street safety, and ultimately, I just want Ward B to be on the top of the priority list down at City Hall. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is David Rios. I'm running for Councilman Ward B2. I'm a proud father. Also, I'm a small business owner here in Jersey City for the past almost 2 decades already. And I'm running for council because I see the problems and I hear the problem behind the chair every day about the garbage. The streets are crazy, no safety. And the best part here, we forgot about a lot of kids. Like people forgot about the kids in the spectrum. And I want to work with that. I want to work how to create a couple of space like parents and kids can be together, spend time together, and also we can teach the other people how to deal with those kids. And I think that's it for now.
All right, good evening, everybody. My name is Idris Zahidi. I'm grateful and humbled to be in front of you today as a product of the Jersey City Public School System. I'm an immigrant, a father of 2 children, and thankfully, at this point in my life, I found myself a public high school science teacher.
In this
My
group is
friend-
the link.
My friend,
For
Musab Ali,
tonight
who I knew since
debate
McNair Academic High School, told me in the summer, I need you. And I said, there's so many other people in Ward B that are
I said
very
that-
active and proud to be, sorry, because throwing me off. Proud to be in this community that may want to serve. He told me, listen, man, we grew up in this city. We want to be active agents of change. We want to assemble a team of public servants and nonprofit organizers. We want people to understand that when they reach these positions, they should publicly serve, not for power and not for money. So I'm proud to be here today, and I'm hoping to serve all of Ward B in terms of ensuring safety, keeping Ward B affordable for all Jersey City residents, and most importantly, activating our community, because a lot of us don't know each other and we should. Thank you.
Good evening. Nice to see everybody. I'm Esther. I'd like to thank the organizations WSCA, McKinley Square Community Board, Lincoln Park North Neighborhood Association, and John McCauley from the EE Block Association for putting this forum together. So everyone understands the questions that I will be asking are questions from the community and from WSCA. So these are questions that they've submitted that I will be asking. Again, as we have a lot of candidates here, if you need me to repeat the question, do not hesitate to do so. And we have a lot of questions, a lot of candidates, so I hope to make this a lively and fun evening for everyone.
Thank you.
Okay. So the first question is, what is your long-term vision for the job ahead of you, should you get elected? And what are the first concrete steps you would take? Joel, you'll begin with 90 seconds.
Thanks for the question. My long-term vision for the job, let's take it in a 4-year chunk because that's the term. I've cross-endorsed with Bill O'Day, who's running for mayor, and something he's talked about is the fact that Jersey City's budget issues are not something that can be fixed in 1 year. And Bill is looking at a 4-year horizon on stabilizing property taxes, bringing back state aid to our schools from Trenton, and making sure that homeowners get bang for your buck because your taxes are going up and city services are not improving. I'm stating the obvious. So, in terms of stabilizing taxes, that's something that's going to take a few years. If we have a hostile person in Trenton, it's going to be tougher. And, that's why I'm urging all my supporters to support Mikey Sherrill for governor, because she's someone I think that Jersey City can work with in terms of funding for our schools. And then you said the first concrete thing that I would do. The first concrete thing I would do is hold community meetings throughout the ward. There are block associations that are springing up. There's one that I think was just kind of resuscitated on the south side, on Armstrong and Van Nostrand. And just, making sure that residents can get organized on that grassroots level and advocate for their neighborhoods.
I'm sorry, moderator. Can you repeat the question, please? Entirely, Esther. Sorry.
No problem. What is your long-term vision for the job ahead of you, should you be elected? And what are the first concrete steps you would take?
First, my long-term advocate for this Ward B is to understand the people of Ward B. Understand where you want to go. I'm a long-time resident of Jersey City, and I've seen it escalated so much in the cleanup, growing things in the city. I want to make sure, working with any of the candidates who are running for mayor and anyone who is running for city official, if I'm elected, being under that cabinet, I would work with them to make sure that the schools are taken care of, making sure our kids have a safe place to play, making sure that we have funding enough for where we can have summer internships and summer jobs, making sure we have a lot of different things. I would work with our mayor elected and all of our officials to make sure that transit is provided for everyone. I walk around Jersey City, I walk around Ward B, and I make sure that people who are in Ward B actually know that we are here to take care of them. I want to be sitting on a seat of the city council, not just because I want to, because I need to be your voice. If you come to me and you say, hey, we need this, I will make sure we fight for that. I will make sure if you say we don't need this, I would make sure City Hall knows that as well. But basically in my long term, and my end goal is to work with them for 4 years to make sure that Ward B actually grows like it's always been doing, and work with WSCA and other organizations like WSCA to make sure that we have things that we need to do. Thank you.
So the top priority is making Jersey City affordable for our residents to stay here. We want to build workforce housing for our teachers, our firefighters, our police officers. We want Jersey City residents that work here to be able to live here. And so we need to do this by stabilizing taxes. We're not promising to lower taxes. And so, in Ward B for decades, homeowners have been paying skyrocketing prices. And after the reval in 2017, there were some savings. However, those savings were crushed based on, they were wiped out because of the state budget cuts on education. And so, we don't want that to happen. And so I, like Joel, will urge you guys to vote for Mikey Sherrill because we know that she is not going to cut our education. And then concrete steps initially that I would first take is I was at the last WSCA meeting, and one of the first things, or one of the issues that we talked about was the see, click, fix problems. And so I would directly take those reports on a regular basis and make sure that the Ward B is taken care of properly. Thank you.
So guys, as long term, the first thing I want to do is the same thing that Joel Brooks offered here is the tax is spent on the right place. And we don't spend too much money and stuff that we don't need in the next 4 years and put it back to the community, the tax money. And the first I would do is get together with the community leaders and create a 90 days to fix the problem of the cleaning in Jersey City and have a system for every 2 weeks, the community get together and start cleaning and start communicating with each other like that. Everybody know what we're doing, how we're gonna do it, the days we're gonna do it, and make sure the west side, the sweeper pass every day. Make sure past 2 days, like that, the next 3 days, the community get together and clean it the next 3 days like that. We can keep the Ward B clean and ready for all the events we're gonna have.
As I was walking through the streets of Ward B, I think the first problem that we need to focus on is trying to make sure that we have district leaders in each part of the ward. From 440 to Bergen, from St. Peter's to all the way McAdoo, every people have a different struggle. Some people tell us they have parking issues. Some people tell us that their streets are not paved. The majority say that they can't afford the ward. So the first thing we should be looking at is how to find leaders in each parts of this district to emphasize the issues of that part. Something that I'm trying to do also on a smaller step is to gauge a student council where we get even our younger people back into civics engagement from the schools. They should be attending our meetings. They should be seeing what's going on so that once we build a plan, once we're not here to carry out that plan, our next generation knows what to do and the steps to take. Because a lot of the times it becomes redundant. 4 years pass, a new person comes in, we don't suffice the job from the 4 years previous. And on top of that, in order for us to keep us affordable, I agree with Lorena completely. We need to find ways for low income and work housing force here. We're trying to make a community land bank. We have a lot of vacant lots in Jersey City to ensure that people can stay here and live here consistently. Only 17% of people that live here work here, and we need to change that so we can make this a habitable ward and one that we can persist in. Thank you.
Travis, right? Yeah. So our next question is, how will you improve transparency and communication between the city council and the residents of Ward B?
I would improve transparency by making sure that the citizens of Ward B are present. When there's meetings, when there's things going on, they know about it. Making sure that we all are intertwined when the things are at Brook, whether it be affordable housing meetings, whether it be redevelopment meetings, whether it be coalition meetings. We need to make sure that the Ward B advocates are present. Things are going on in our city right now where things are going under the rug and nobody knows about it. And I think that Ward B needs to be up front. I think that in City Hall, we need to make sure, and I agree with my whole panel when they say we need to make sure that we get everybody on the same accord and make sure that we have an advocate in all different wards of Ward B to make sure that they're at every meeting. And that's just basically it. I've been in a lot of meetings where I've seen certain people there and they're not from that ward. And then they have no idea what's going on in that ward until it's too late. The bills are passed. Things are all tallied up. And that's unfair. We've lived in Jersey City too long to be put out in the cold. So I would fight for making sure that Ward B residents and advocates and leaders in Ward B are always present at every meeting and make sure that nothing gets passed until we all come to grip of what's going on in our city.
So first of all, in improving transparency, I would create regular reports to the community. I would create a regular newspaper a newsletter, I'm sorry, that would talk about any things that are gonna be happening in the ward so that we could all prepare for it, right? Whether it's road closures or street closures and things like that. I would also, again, going back to that see, click, fix, because we're all residents here, you guys report it, but also it gets left to the wind and nobody knows what happens to it. So as your council person, I would make sure that those reports are taken care of. And then ultimately, I am willing to work with anybody, regardless of their views. I have championed collaborating with different stakeholders in different times of my career. So that's something that I'm very proud of, and that's something that I would be bringing to Ward B. Thank you.
I'll repeat the question. How will you improve transparency and communication between the city council and Ward B residents?
The first thing I would do is create a social media. A lot of people got social media, but also create a group of person. They go house to house and knock doors and then know the people when we have meetings. And the people can attend to the meetings, send the people back and let them know what we talk about in the meeting. And have everything like in the paper and everything. If I win, everything's gonna be live stream on Instagram, Facebook, make sure everything's transparency, everything we spend, the money, everything. But also very important is go knock door to door to let know the people that they don't have the internet or stuff to see it, that they know and they can find out what we do and what we've been doing for the past days and try to do almost every day, not every week, at least daily.
When it comes to transparency, we have to start off with the concept of pay to play. We're the only team, Team Ali, that doesn't take a single cent from a vendor or a developer. And that's important because if we're trying to take a position for public service, we should not be beholden to anybody but the people that vote us in. So first off, we're trying to ban pay to play. I'm sorry. On top of that, we want to release a public dashboard showing all of the finances to all the residents of Jersey City so that they can track where our money is being spent because they're entitled to it first. And on top of that, one of the biggest things that we're missing in our community is language services. No matter how much we have social media or we bang on doors, if people don't understand what policies mean and where they're at and where they can find them, just like this forum, for example, there's no point. So we need to be able to reach everybody where they're at with the appropriate resources and with the right people and professionals. Thank you.
Yes,
Our
go ahead.
next
Wait,
question is-
Wait.
No worries. Timer starts. All right. So I really like what Frank Gilmore does in terms of transparency. So, there's the caucus meeting before the city council meeting on Mondays. And Frank does a meeting before the meeting where he explains what's going to be on the city council agenda. I think that is a great tool to reach folks. And so that means being on social media, asking folks to sign up for text updates, emails, physical flyers, snail mail. People do still open their mail sometimes. Piggybacking on what Idris said, the language access. And I want to highlight one piece of that and kind of where the system is broken. So I was a rent control tenant for 9 years, and I was assisting some tenants at 35 Kensington who didn't have heat. And they had to go through a process to petition, fill out a failure to provide services petition with landlord tenant. To do that, you had to create an online account. Then you had to find the application. Then you had to upload your lease. It's all in English. And the residents there, a lot of them were monolingual Spanish and Arabic speakers. So language access is really, really important. I would publish a schedule of road closures and what the heck is going on each road. Bill's campaign office is on Lexington between Westside and Kennedy. And I remember when they started work there and I asked the workers, how long is this going to take? Thank you. And one of the workers said 3 to 4 months. And then the other guy was like, I don't think so. So, we all deal with this minor inconveniences, but we should know what is going on and when it's going to be over.
So the next question is actually going to be 2 parts. I'm going to ask you 2 questions back to back. You will have 45 seconds to respond to each question, and I'll repeat the question as we go down the line. So who is next? I believe that is Lorena. What are your top 3 budget priorities for Ward B, and how will you fight to fund them?
So when we look at the budget, we definitely know that we need to take a look at it holistically. I wouldn't necessarily cut or add things right away, but we would look at to see what departments are very bureaucratic, where there are too many consultants. And ultimately, we want to take a look at abatements and pilots to make sure that we're getting every dollar from the payroll tax. And all of this money is going directly towards our residents.
Are there any specific programs or departments you feel receive too much or too little funding at this time?
No, I think that our Department of Infrastructure needs to be taken a look at, because we definitely want to continue to build out our bike lanes. We perhaps could even talk about creating a pedestrian, with the Bayfront coming, talking about a pedestrian bridge along with bike lanes from there to the west side, or perhaps the Sip Avenue over to Journal Square.
Do you want, I'll repeat the question. Okay. What are your top three budget priorities for Ward B and how will you fight to fund them?
Right now, my top three right now, I don't got it right now because I need to see the budget, sit down as a businessman. Business owner, I need to see how we spend the budget and make sure like, that's the real money, the money going to those projects. Sometimes, people put something in the paper, but behind the paper, the money goes somewhere else. So we need to make sure that all the money is going, like it's for construction or for the art or for the bike lanes, make sure everything's there. And, for now, yes.
Are there any specific programs or departments you feel receive too much or too little funding at this time?
The streets, no funding to the streets, a lot of potholes and nobody, for now, it's still the same for the past 4 years. Couple of tires damaged and still the money not there. They told me 4 years ago, they're gonna fix the sidewalks. The sidewalks still the same, so that'll be the first thing I would
That
go
you
to
would
push, yes.
focus on?
Yes.
Thank you. What are your top three budget priorities for Ward B and how will you fight to fund them?
So I think my top three budget priorities would be recreation programs, parks, and community events. A lot of times, especially as a high school teacher, a lot of the memories that students make are outside of the classroom. Their expression through the arts and sports are critical. We keep them productive and off the streets and keep them safe and engaged. In terms of the community, we want to make sure that we establish Lincoln Park as the hub of Ward B, which it is and should be, to gather people here of all different backgrounds to share their cultural expressions. On top of that, I think that our parks need to be maintained properly, and I think that we should also make sure that we're taking care of all the amenities.
Are there specific programs or departments you feel receive too much or too little funding?
So in terms of funding, we definitely want to work with the different levels, right? City, county, and state. We want to make sure that we get funds into our city to help with recreation programs, to expand them for all ages. A lot of times people come to me and say, well, Zahidi, we have some programs for 5 and up. We have certain programs, we don't know where they're at, where we can find them. There's a beautiful Jersey City recreation program. We should expand it to all ages, okay? So that kids are engaged from a very young age. Also infrastructure, like Lorena said, we need a lot of work. Our streets need work, our services need work, and people want better quality of life. So we should focus on those things.
Thanks. So top three budget and how would I fight for them?
What are your top three budget priorities for Ward B and how will you fight to fund them?
Thank you. Okay, so youth and recreation. Bill O'Day funds free soccer and tennis camps here in Lincoln Park every summer. That's through the county. That's something I think could be expanded citywide. In going around, knocking on doors, talking to folks and letting them know, a lot of parents didn't know that program existed and have said, wow, I would, my kid's beating me up this summer. I wish he was in the soccer camp. The second priority is looking at the MUA in Veolia. Mayor Phillip instituted a backdoor tax, the water tax, and homeowners know that well. And then beefing up landlord tenant services. And how I would fight for all of those is we would need you. We need higher voter, thanks Kayla, higher voter turnout in Ward B to show that we mean business.
Okay. Are there specific programs or departments you feel receive too much or too little funding at this time?
In terms of too much, again, I think we need to look at MUA and what we contract out for. Are we getting bang for our buck? Veolia is a for-profit company that we contract services out to. And then too little landlord tenant. I think there's only 2 people processing all these rent control violation petitions and failure to provide services petitions. And I know I went through the system. It took me over a year to get an answer.
Once again, I asked you, what are my top 3 budget priorities? I hate to be redundant with everyone on the panel, but let me start with the infrastructure of Jersey City. The infrastructure of Ward B is terrible. Of Jersey City is terrible. We need to work on our streets, getting these old pipes and old steam lines underneath our concretes to upstanding levels where we don't have to pay so much energy. Also, the budget to make sure that if I'm elected, I'll sit on that panel with City Hall and make sure that my counterparts understand that the people of Jersey City and the people of Ward B matter when it comes to making sure that the budget is allocated to the places that where it needs to go to, and making sure that everybody's understandable with it. Just visibility, making sure that everybody is knowledge for it. I mean, then we could sit here and talk about a whole bunch of different things of this person or this place that needs this, but the whole city needs it, and Ward B needs it. This is the center part of Jersey City. Liberty State Park, Lincoln Park, Lincoln Park, Westside Avenue, it's the heartness and it's the heart of Jersey City. And we need to make sure it just stays that way. It's always been that way. I grew up here. I know that. Next question.
Are there specific programs or departments you feel receive too much or too little funding?
I just speak on the too little funding part. Like I stated earlier, just making sure that our budget is allocated to our youth, no matter what age they are, like you said. But let's make sure that our playgrounds are taken care of. Work with our parks and have our parks department make sure that they're clean. So when we take our young daughters and our sons and our grandchildren to the park, they have somewhere to play. Making sure that the budget is for making sure paid internships for our youth. Making sure that they have somewhere to go during the summertime, where it makes it easier for them to say, you know what, I live in Jersey City. I love Jersey City, and this is where I want to be. And then invite my friends over to Jersey City to make sure it's what it is. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I ask the next question?
Yes.
Where do you stand regarding the Pompidou? What is your position on the Pompidou and the financing of any kind for the museum? 90 seconds.
For the museum here, I think it's good to have a museum here to tell a story about Jersey City, but also those funds can use in other stuff like we're talking about the structure of Jersey City, we can use that for the recreation and stuff like that. And create more program for young kids and with that money.
Yeah.
So in terms of the Pompidou, there, a lot of times we get developers to come in here and then they would like to dictate what we need in Jersey City. I think we need to change that. If people are coming in here and they want to develop in our city, and that's why I said, like I said, the band's pay to play is important. They should be beholden to us and what we need. So as much as a museum may be great, I think our infrastructure needs that money. I need that we have, if in terms of us, what we're trying to do as Team Ali is have a philanthropy department set up where we can get big businesses, big vendors to allocate money for recreation, for schools, for community events, and to ensure that what we need is processed first. And then we can think about museums and other things because necessities come before anything.
Thanks. I oppose any city funding for the Pompidou. I think it's a boondoggle. It's a giveaway to the Kushner family, who's had a lot of public money given to them for many, many years. And I will take the time for this question to say that one team that's not here has taken campaign contributions from the Kushner family. So, you know, that's, if you're not for the Pompidou, or billionaires getting tax breaks to build museums that people don't seem to want, and I wouldn't vote for that team.
I apologize that I cannot speak about this question. And that's all I'm gonna say. Cannot speak about this question. Thank you.
I thank you for your candidness and your honesty in your response. So thank you very much for that.
We need to take care of our basics first before looking into extravagant things like the Pompidou. In fact, we have high quality local talent here, local artists that we need to support first. So I would definitely look at investing into our local arts program and supporting our local artists before doing anything like that.
Oh, sure.
So as a council person, you control the budget. Would you insist on a capital spending line item in the annual municipal budget?
So first, in order to understand the budget, right now, me and my team are actually talking about this. If I was to look at the fact that we're in a $75 million deficit, I have a lot of issues with that. Because I don't know why we have a $75 million deficit. Nobody's telling us about how we got there. And that is the first issue. Second, I would want to ensure that we have a participatory budget where people understand where their money is going. And it's critical to understand that because of the fact is that it's our money that we are spending. So before we could do anything, we have to stop and say, okay, this budget line item, as great as it may be, does this suit my need or my ward's need? So I won't specifically tell you something that I would choose for the ward, but I'd make sure that I get their responses about it before we make a decision.
How long do they have? Okay, no, that's
No, Joel.
Do you mind repeating the question?
As a council person, you control the budget. You can put input on how you want that budget to be put together. Would you insist on capital spending line item in the annual municipal budget?
Thank you. So what I take that to mean is to spell out specific things that are being, money being allocated to specific things. That's my understanding of the question.
Want to
You-
expand?
Yeah, sure, that'd be helpful.
Right now, what the city does when there's major capital spending is they bond for it because they haven't allocated monies within the budget to do that kind of spending. So as a council person, would you make that a line item so that it's allocated each year?
Understood. Yes, no, we cannot operate our city finances on a credit card. We should not be bonding for year-to-year budget items. Our bond rating, my understanding, has decreased because our eyes are a little bit bigger than our stomach. I think that's the way that expression goes. So yeah, I would not support further bonding for yearly capital spending.
I also would oppose on bond spending. I would basically suggest that if we sit down as electives and we're sitting around, we'll make sure that the budget spending is allocated on an agenda for all Ward B and all Jersey City to actually look at, to see where the money is being spent before we do anything about it. To make sure that before we vote on any money that is being spent to each ward or each part of the city that we get from the state, it has to be okay. It has to be voted on before anything. It doesn't start here. It starts with the people of Jersey City. And I think that's what needs to happen first.
So we definitely need to get our fiscal house in order. We need to definitely not do any more bonding. We need to, again, look at abatements and pilots and make sure that we're receiving every dollar from our payroll tax. And also making sure that these dollars goes directly towards our residents. Thank you.
So just to be clear, the question is, would you insist that a line item be put into the budget for capital spending? Would you do that? No? Okay. Next.
I would not do that, because that's why we need transparency, like that, let other people where the money coming from, and like that. Every time they put a project, people don't say yes, yes, yes without the money, where the money come from, so the bonds and stuff like that, so. transparency and off to the bunch. I think it's time to start cutting stuff running.
Oh, yes, oh, right. Good. Thank you, Bill. Thank you.
How do you view the current relationship between the community and the police in Ward B? And what would you do to improve trust and accountability?
Okay, so Ward B is covered by two precincts, the West District and the South District. I'll be very honest, I have more experience with the West District. I know the South District is Captain Hewlings, the West District is Captain Joe. I can't pronounce his last name, so he lets me call him Captain Joe. You know, the West District holds meetings and in my experience, they've been responsive. There was an beyond unfortunate, there was an incident where someone was attacking women with hijabs all over the West Side. And one of those people was afraid to come forward. She was severely injured on Bergen in front of the pharmacy. It was captured on camera. But the district worked with her, found an Arabic speaking officer who did the intake. And she connected the district to other women who had been attacked, and they did apprehend that person. So in my experience, you know, when you engage with the West District, you get a good response.
How do you view the current relationship between the community and police in Ward B? And what would you do to improve trust and accountability?
Well, I want to start this question backwards. I would improve the trust between the police department of Ward B with making sure that we are involved with them and they are involved with us. Making sure that they know that we have their back just as much as they have ours. When we look at the police department of Jersey City, which I believe is one of the greatest police departments in Jersey City because they respond so quickly, I think that making sure that they're transparent and knowing that the people that they serve are the people that also make sure that they want them here. When we call the police, making sure that we give them access to what they need, making sure that they feel, appreciated, and making sure that when we have our meetings, that they're invited as well, so they know what's going on. We can't do anything with our police if we don't invite them to things. We don't make them a present to things. We just can't call on them to sue for action if they don't know who they are. I'm a big advocate for making sure that the police who police in Jersey City are from Jersey City, making sure that they know the people of Jersey City. So when they do respond, they know who they're responding to.
So first is the current relationship with police, and from what I see, there isn't a relationship with police officers. Most of the complaints that I hear, because I go to the captain's meetings as well, that Captain Joe hosts. And a lot of the times we hear that police officers are not engaged with the community in their cars, on their phones. And so I think that to install trust back is first, we need to start with real leadership at the top. Once we do that, we can push for fair and competitive contracts for our officers, for our firefighters, for our teachers even. And then this is going to boost morale, and we want police officers that are going to be engaged with our residents. We want police officers that will know our kids' names. We want the business owners to know the police officers that are going to walk up and down the streets. And again, this all has to start with real leadership at the top. And police officers will know that I will have their back, but at the same time, will hold them accountable to the district commanders and chiefs. Thank you.
How do you view the current relationship between the community and police in Ward B? And what would you do to improve trust and accountability?
The police in Jersey City are very nice. I got a good experience with them. The double star, the trust is teaching our kids and our youth, like the police work for us. They here for us and don't teach it for the past couple of years. We've been teaching the kids they bad. They found the police. They found that's the reason a lot of the cops, when they go to work, they don't go to work. They just go to work just to get the check and go home because they know, they're gonna call as soon as I get to the place. I'm gonna get treated like I'm the enemy. And that people take out the camera, now hell, just take out the camera and record. We need to get back the trust to the police. Like that, they can work with us and we don't get problems and stop recording and help them to get the thing done right.
Thank you.
I'm gonna go back to why community leaders are important. Because again, each part of Ward B has different struggles and different safety issues. So if we establish leaders from each of those parts of the district, we now have a representative voice that can connect to the police. That's number one. Number two, I think revamping the idea and the knowledge around restorative justice to ensure that our younger people who are making mistakes get second chances. So that they understand that the police are not always after them in order to just lock them up or place them in positions where they have no choice but to come back from. On top of that, I think it's also important to understand the power of mental health professionals. A lot of the times, we just want our police to do all the work for every crisis. But sometimes we need other professionals to come in and step in. So we should incentivize and invest in the Arrive program, for example. For example, a lot of people on this side of Ward B, I'll give you an example on Gaudier Avenue. Every day they complain to me, there's people loitering, there's drugs, there's a safety issue. Women are being harassed, but nobody's treating it. There's a cop station right there. So it's both ways, right? We want our police to have better leadership. We want them to be better organized. We want them to be on the beat. We want them to be active, but we also want community leaders that can support them and reinforce that trust.
Then we're going to the next question, right? Yeah. There are street corners that present perpetual problems to the neighborhoods they are in, and the police say they cannot eradicate the drug dealing, loitering, littering, and public bathroom activities of the actors involved. Have you given thought to how you might approach these problems with the police?
Yes, I have. Just a quick brief, real quick. I talked to a lot of officers in the city of Jersey City, and the problem starts at City Hall. The problem starts with paying them the hours that they need to patrol our areas. They're only given a certain amount of time at certain parts of the day to patrol our areas. So those are the type of things to where they come back and talk to me and say, hey, we would love to patrol these areas to make sure that the drug dealers or the drugs or the activities are not going on. But we can't because our hours are cut. They do not want to pay us. And this is where our story lies. I believe at City Hall, it starts where we make sure that we honor the police and we go, okay, listen, we're gonna get you the funding. You can pay these young officers or the officers that work for Jersey City in every ward to walk the streets, to make sure that not at 7 o'clock, but at 8 o'clock, at 9 o'clock, at 10 o'clock, all the way up to midnight and past to where our streets are accessible to our elders, to our people, to make sure they're safe. When you come home and you park your car, you want to make sure that you're safe. And this is where it starts. You have to pay at some point to make sure the streets are safe. You cannot cut some of the police officers' legs in order for them to do their jobs.
Can you just repeat the question, please?
Sure. There are street corners that present perpetual problems to the neighborhoods they are in, and the police say they cannot eradicate the drug dealing, loitering, littering, and public bathroom activities of the actors involved. Have you given thought to how you might approach these problems with the police?
Yeah, so the first corner that comes to mind is the issues that we've had at Gaudier and Westside. We have the police officer come, close the business down for small things here and there. Move the cars that are illegally parked there. There's maybe public drinking, and that happens on for weeks at a time. And then the problem gets better, the police disappears, and then the problem comes back. And that's the kind of cycle we've been having in that particular corner. And so again, it starts in working with the police, just making sure that they have fair and competitive contracts, knowing that we have their backs, and also creating an enforcement unit. So they could really focus on those issues. But then the second part is really going into the deeper issue is transforming that corner. I thought about maybe beautifying the corner, bringing in a mural, having those local restaurants put out little tables and do some outdoor dining and bring in live music, something similar to what I did at the McGinley Square on Bergen Avenue and Duncan Avenue. And that transformed the district. And so that would be also a way of permanently transforming that section. Thank you.
There are street corners that present perpetual problems to the neighborhoods they are in, and the police say they cannot eradicate the drug dealing, loitering, littering, and public bathroom activities of the actors involved. Have you given thought to how you might approach these problems with the police?
I agree with Travis. I think we should have cops on Westside, just like Bergen, Ocean, and Martin Luther King, each corner, especially the corners like that, like you got Claremont Avenue by the library, it's a disaster over there. And I forgot the block here, but there should be a cop there 24/7, not 24/7, but at least the daytime and later at nighttime. And also we need to enforce the law too. A lot of people just get the ticket, they don't pay the ticket, they go to jail, and they get out the same day because no bail for that. So we need to help them too, the people, like you said, the mental health too. We have a lot of people in the street, like we need to work with that, not just kick them out and send it to the next block. Just work with them, try to find a help for them and talk to the community leaders and step up too, because now also the police, not only the police, it's also the community too. The community need to say, I'm tired of this, it's time to go, you need to go. And I think that's why we need to get together for that problem.
So I'm actually gonna take a little bit of a different approach. I think that we should cut back a little bit on the overtime and increase the police force. Because if we have more bodies on the street, they're able to actually get to the access points quicker. Okay, that's number one. We need people when they call up 911, we need to modernize that system. They need help. They need people to get there quickly. But what's most important is we need to find new avenues for those people that are on the corners. It's more than just about the police coming around and enforcing, because guess what? When the police leave, those people could come just right back. So we need to invest, especially in the recreational programs, because a lot of our youth are on those corners. A lot of our youth think that's cool. We got to change that mindset. In order to transform that mindset, we need to give them better outlets, productive outlets, things they can grow in, things that are actually healthy and cool.
Ouch. Okay, so I want to double back to my answer earlier about trust and kind of weave it into this response. So, in terms of the trust and accountability, I was remiss not to mention the death of Andrew Washington, which I think caused a lot of distrust between the people of Jersey City and the JCPD. Now we have arrived together, which hopefully will prevent another death like that in the future. But I do want to acknowledge that. And rest in peace, Drew. In terms of the corners, there was kind of a successful clearing the corner situation at Gautier and Westside, but it was a temporary resolution. There's also Lexington between Bergen and JFK. Clinton, I've heard complaints from residents there. And, I just want to say unequivocally, like, you shouldn't be afraid to leave your house. And you shouldn't be afraid to come home from work at night, park your car and walk home. So let's start from there as a baseline. And then let's talk about how do we deal with, what's going on? Who are the folks there? I don't have the answer. If people are out selling drugs, to me, that tells me they don't have a living wage. They don't have a good job. They don't have a place to live. I'm a union organizer. If people had a good job with benefits, I don't think they'd be out there. Thank you. So then. Yes. Yeah.
All right, I think for this question will be 30 seconds. This is a quick question. Parks and hold on. Parks and green spaces are already extremely limited in Ward B. Would you commit to obtaining a list of JCRA held properties and reviewing it with WSCA in a public meeting with other neighborhood groups to review which city-owned parcels might be ideal future parks?
Yes, I would definitely be open to talking about this, not only with WSCA, but with all of our other community groups and making sure that we bring in all the residents on this conversation. If we look at Ward B, there's several parts of it, and the area that we're in between Bergen and Westside, from Montgomery all the way to Audubon and that area, there is opportunity to put in some pocket parks and some community gardens. So I would definitely be open to talking about that.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, and we agree to talk to you guys, sit down and then create more green spaces like that. We can have more fun with the kids and the family.
I think this is a no-brainer, obviously, right? Parks are where places that memories are made, right? Kids come back there, they play basketball, they play soccer, they play whatever sports they want, or they're just hanging out with their friends. Those places, if monitored and kept properly, would be spaces where they can intellectually grow and build that kinship for the future in terms of a community.
I would say, let's build a concrete situation. Was this for you, Joe?
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah. Parks and green spaces are already extremely limited in Ward B. Would you commit to obtaining a list of JCRA held properties and reviewing it with WSCA in a public meeting with other neighborhood groups to review which city-owned parcels might be ideal future parks?
Yes. I would commit to that. You're welcome.
Thank you, Joe. I apologize. My mother always said I love to take the spotlight, sorry. But yes, I'm just gonna agree with Joe. Yes, I would like that also.
Okay, very good. Thank you. So you're the next question. So this is, we're gonna talk about historic preservation in Ward B. Some Ward B concerns include that the existing streetscape, neighborhood character, and building alignment along the sidewalk is changing drastically with demolitions and new construction built to zoning standards that do not reflect the neighboring structures at all. Some suggest the way to protect 1 to 2 family home neighborhoods and their affordability is to first designate what is historic with low density, and then consider where appropriate to upzone. The city has focused on creating new development over preserving its architectural and cultural history. How would you balance historic preservation of lower density neighborhoods with the demand for new housing?
I will balance that, so I will look for the properties like say something about Jersey City, the most important one, and try to keep it, and especially the communities, they already have like 2 floors, don't go more than 2 floors, stop making those buildings so big, and talk to the developers and like take a break and find a different, create balance between, okay, this zone is already nice, beautiful, I know it's a lot of old properties, like maybe need to get fixed, talk to the community and work with it, fix those properties and make it like a historical place, and so that we can keep it and save those property from the developers keep buying and taking.
Thank you.
So for this question, I think this is where it becomes important to have WSCA Alliance and also to tie in between the older generation and the younger generation. A lot of the younger generation, which I'm a part of, we might not understand the history of our ward. We might not understand the changes that occurred. So by creating that balance between a community that looks to its predecessors for that understanding, that knowledge, we can then choose sites together to maintain and preserve historically, but also It's the information that comes from those sites, the memories that were there. Those can only be passed or transmitted through storytelling. And that's how our forefathers used to do it. So bringing the community closer together, the seniors, residents, and the younger generation. I think that's the best way to maintain the historical preservation in this ward.
Thank you. Also, not to derail this, but Dana, do you wanna? You have a spot? Yeah, okay. All right, just wanted to
Is that
recognize.
it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's Dana.
Oh, would you like to come join? You can come join and be a part of the.
Yeah.
You want to hear? Thank you.
Welcome. We just prolonged it now, sorry. Okay, so the question,
Oh,
that was a big preamble, but, yeah, we have a historic district here in Ward B, I think it's the West Bergen, Lincoln, I might not have the nomenclature right, but the West Bergen Lincoln Historic District East, thank you, Guy. Listen, we don't, there are probably places where you can appropriately upzone. Kennedy Boulevard, Bergen. I think there's a balance to be had. We do need more housing, but we don't want Bayonne boxes being crammed in next to, houses blotting out the sun, destroying the neighborhood character. So I think it's a balance. Jersey City Planning and Zoning never met a variance that they didn't like, that I've seen. So, the mayor and the council would appoint a new planning and zoning, board. Thank you.
I'll just briefly say, being a resident of Jersey City for 51 years, I know a lot of preserved buildings and places and lots in Jersey City. I grew up on them. I grew up on Westside Avenue. I grew up in downtown. And I think it's very important to keep those things preserved. I'm not gonna sit here and talk to you and give you a whole bunch of big words. All I'm just saying is a simple fact is this. If you live in Ward B and you feel that something is worth preserving, let's fight for it. Let's make it known. There's no top, there's no bottom, it's just straight middle. Let's just make it known. Let's bring it to City Hall, let's bring it to the planning board, let's bring it to Preservation Board, and make sure that we keep it that way. We don't need new buildings to take away what we grew up on, if it's still stable to have, period.
I'll give you a question. How would you balance historic preservation of lower density neighborhoods with the demand for new housing?
Well, basically, you have to continue to improve the zoning board to allow them to do their due diligence to make sure that whatever they're going to build, it doesn't affect what's already there, right? So those buildings or those houses or whatever preserved area is needed to be preserved, that need to be done, and make sure that the zoning board also follows that. Now, we all as residents, we can go down to City Hall together and talk about what's best for the ward. So it's really just a whole bunch of different things that have come into the variance of preservation. But again, it's gonna take a whole lot of different things to make sure that those things stay in place, not just one particular area. So it's gonna take us, it's gonna take zoning, it's gonna take the preservation board to make sure everything is on the up and up as far as what we do. Now, these high buildings that's going up, they need to be placed in certain areas that it does not affect those areas of preservation. So we need to make sure the zoning board is on board with this.
So. So for historic preservation, I would definitely engage my neighbors, Gay and Charlene, because they're champions of this in Ward B. And so when we look at the other parts of Ward B, west of Mallory along 440, there's opportunity there for higher density housing that can generate substantial workforce housing for our police or firefighters and our teachers. So we'll definitely look into that. Thank you.
There are large redevelopment opportunities along the Hackensack Riverfront and other parts of the West Side. How will you ensure that new development benefits existing residents of Ward B rather than just outside investors?
So there's a couple things here. Right now, along 440, the traffic congestion is already getting so crazy. A lot of people complain about that all the time. So whenever we're trying to just talk about where we want to develop, we want to also see what's the repercussions first, right? On top of that, I like Lorena's idea, obviously, as a teacher, I'd love to have a workforce housing development and for lower income so that we have a place for the people of Jersey City to live and to give back to that city. At the same time, we want to use those vacant lots for the people. So, okay, we introduced a new development. What are we going to get from it? What are you going to provide for our ward that's going to benefit us? A lot of the times they come in with 20, 30 years of tax abatements. They get to skate without any, penalties. They get to skate and do things for themselves. They get to skate and to profitize off of us. So we want to make sure that all the different classes of income have an ability to live in these housing, for sure. And we must make sure that we can create some type of connection with the state to create air rights for bridges over 440, because we need a way to lower the traffic congestion. So whenever these are coming up, we need to think of both traffic and for people's ability to live in these tenancies. Thank you.
Thanks. So my day job is I'm a union representative, so I bargain contracts. And, you have to know when to bargain hard, when to walk away, when to fight, when to make the deal. And I think that what we would need to do, I mean, that's an expansive opportunity for development along the Hackensack River. And I think we as Jersey City should bargain for community benefit agreements. And that's part of the reason I'm working with Bill O'Day, because he has a history of putting those together, where if a developer is going to come in, that we're going to have a real affordability. It's going to be built union, it's going to be built safe with local hiring, and that we find a way to get developers to invest into transit. And on the union piece, there are two projects that are open now, a building on the corner of Summit and Fairmount and a building on Communipaw where the car lot used to be, where workers died. 2 people died. So, building union, building safe is really important to me. And I don't think that's something that we should give away if a developer wants to come in and make a profit. Thank you.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yes. There are large redevelopment opportunities along the Hackensack Riverfront and other parts of the West Side. How will you ensure that new development benefits existing residents of Ward B rather than just outside investors?
I think I'm gonna take a small page out of Joel's book. I'm gonna just say that we need some sort of a resident incentive. And the developers are gonna come and make sure that they're gonna build within Jersey City, and they go through the planning, and they go to the zoning board, and they go through, and all of their plans are set forth. There should be some incentives for people who live in Jersey City. They should not be paying an arm and a leg to live where they grew up. They should not be paying an arm and a leg to just feed pockets. And I think we should get some sort of an incentives. I don't know what that incentive is, but to make it affordable and less affordable, really affordable, to make sure that we live in Jersey City, to make sure that we can actually live. The economy is really bad right now. We all know that. And just to make sure that when we do have a new building and a new construction developed in our neighborhoods, that is not just taking anything away from us. It's not hiking up our taxes, but making sure if someone moves in this building, make sure it's affordable for us. And I mean really affordable. That's it. Thank you.
My stance on this is simple. Any developer that comes to Ward B to build a building, you're going to give something back to the community. Plain and simple. You're not going to build and the residents of Ward B not receive anything. Whether it's a group center, whether it's a library, anything that can be used for the residents of Ward B, if a developer comes in, I'm going to make sure, and I'm going to take your input to make sure that whatever those developers are building, that we all have an input on what needs to be done for Ward B.
So we want to definitely push for responsible development. Along that area, there is space for family housing. Ward B is known for its families, and so we want to make sure that we have housing for our families. And we want it to be affordable as well. As a slate, Team Solomon does not take money from developers, and so we are able to use our political capital for our residents. You know, we would push for 20% of affordability moving forward. And then we would also make sure that these developers significantly contribute to the community that they're coming to build into, whether it be parks, trees, anything that makes the neighborhood better than what they're stepping into. And then also, let's not forget building infrastructure for it. Thank you.
I think the developers, not only they should give us, like Travis said, something back to the community, right? They should pay for their own security and the cleaning too, like that we can have more of that. And every time you build something, you get more people to clean and more people who secure. Like that, we don't need to get more tax just to get more police officers and more people to clean the street and more streets cleaner just because somebody decided to develop a building and put 600 units and decide the people who's been here before is gonna pay for that because the tax of my property or his property is gonna go up. So I think we need to make these developers pay the fair tax and help the city and give us something back, especially the schools and kids and security. It should be them, not us.
Thanks. Thank you. You had a nice question, yeah.
Okay, we'll do 60 seconds for this question, 60 seconds to respond to this question. Large multi-unit buildings are going up and the retail space at ground level remains vacant. Have you given thought to the types of businesses Ward B is lacking and what role do you envision for yourself to bring them here?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, commercial real estate. I mean, I'm not a broker, so I can't speak to the specifics of how you fill those spaces. Definitely want to echo what I've heard from the community in terms of, you know, restaurants where people can sit down and enjoy themselves. A liquor license is nearly impossible to get in Jersey City. You know, that's something, you know, I think we need to look at. So, you know, I'm open to feedback from the community. A vacant storefront does no one any good. I think we definitely do not need more smoke shops. And we do not, I think the Cannabis Licensing Board, they basically approved every license that they could, knowing not every project is gonna come to fruition. That's not good for the businesses because, you know, if you look at Westside, you have cannabis dispensaries kind of competing with each other, and in violation of the ordinance where they're too close. Thank you.
I would definitely make sure that if you do have a new development coming up, I would definitely make sure that before they have a plan to make sure that they have some sort of storefront, some sort of small business that is actually going to be there before they get designated for anything. We need pizzerias, we need stores, we need grocery stores, we need anything. And I agree with Joel, we do not. And I guarantee you 100%, we do not need another smoke shop. A smoke shop does nothing for our community. What happens in our community, it happens to where when you come downstairs or around the corner, growing up in Jersey City, you had an allocated store that you needed. Somewhere where you can go and get your groceries when you didn't need to go to Acme or A&P or ShopRite. And I'm talking, when I say A&P, I'm talking my age now. So basically, we need storefronts in these developments. And if I'm elected, I would make sure that these developers do not skate free and have a vacant
Thank you.
storefront. Thank you.
Thank you for your response.
As a resident here for 54 years on Clendenny Avenue, I've seen it all, right? The city, especially Ward B, we have a different element, right? Because we're diverse now. So Ward B wasn't diverse as it is now. So there's different things that could be placed there, right? So those things that storefronts and opportunities that want to be placed there, it's going to be through us that we make that happen, right? So if there's a smoke shop, then we should go to the zoning board and say, hey, listen, you can't have all this here because it's going to affect the community, right? So if a developer comes in and builds something, like I said earlier, we're going to make sure that there is something there for the community. Commercial wise, residential wise, the whole process. Team Joyce has a great plan to make sure that all the residents' voices
Thank
will
you for
be
your
heard.
response. 60 seconds are up.
So in Ward B, we know that we are in a food desert. So the first thing that we need is a quality supermarket, and that's what I would push to bring. And then I would create a community survey to see what our residents want to see in our storefronts. Again, I would use my political capital to push these developers to keep their storefronts full. And if they don't have anybody interested, then we can use them for our local artists or our local makers or our local business owners that just need that little bit of a push, you know, giving them at least 6 months rent-free so that they can get themselves together. Something similar to what I did at McKinley Square Plaza, where we used that little kiosk and we had the plants lady there rent-free for a year. And she was able to really jumpstart her business in that way. So these are the types of things that I would bring. Thank you.
Thank you.
Here's the question, please.
Yes. Large multi-unit buildings are going up and the retail space at the ground level remains vacant. Have you given thought to the types of businesses Ward B is lacking? And what role do you envision for yourself to bring them here?
I'm a small business owner for 12 years already, and very successful, thank God. I think the first thing we need to do is create a system, a real association in Jersey City and Ward B. They help the people who have an idea, help them with a business plan. The first thing, you know, we need more restaurants, so let's create a business plan for that restaurant. Also, you create a new building, the developer, talk to the developer at one point, make them part of the business too, like that in case the person don't got enough fund to create the business, the developer help them to make that business in that place. But we need to have something that teach these people what a business plan is, help them out and guide them, because a lot of people open business in Jersey City and they don't even last 6 months because they don't have a business plan. So I think the groceries, we need daycares, we need a lot of places like more space for kids in the spectrum, speech therapy and all that stuff.
Thank you.
So obviously, I agree with a lot of the ideas that came up here in terms of a daycare, grocery store, a cyber, you know, just so that people know how to learn technology skills and, you know, improve their ability to reach out to other parts of the ward. But one way that we need to go about it, I believe, in the best of my ability, is to create tax incentives for some of these business owners to hire locally. That's a challenge we're facing. So besides the ideas of what we need to create, like a grocery store, we want to make sure that those grocery stores are filled with people that work from Jersey City. Because currently only 17% of people that live in Jersey City work in Jersey City. So by creating those tax incentives, we give them a reason to hire locally, to keep the integrity and character of Ward B. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Where do you see longtime residents that are now seniors residing after selling their homes they can no longer manage or afford?
That's a very delicate question because what I do hate is the fact that our seniors are actually being pushed out of Jersey City. Our seniors are actually being pushed out of our homes. I have seniors and we all have seniors in our families. And one of the things that I want to say is the fact that if they're being pushed out of their homes and they cannot afford them anymore, let's make a space for them. Let's create a space for them. If these developers or these new units are going up, let's make sure that we have housing for our seniors, adequate housing for our seniors. Make sure they have adequate help so they can actually get around. One thing that I hate about Jersey City is the simple fact is that when I look at seniors walking around, going to the store for themselves, and I'm saying, do they have anybody to help them? Let's make sure that they get aids. But to your question, we need to have a space for them to go to. We have to make a space and build a space for our seniors to live and to live freely, to make sure they can come and go and get with exactly what their needs.
Thank you.
Currently, I'm the chairman of the rent leveling board. So I have a lot of cases that come before me that we have situations where the landlord is doing things that are not up to code to the tenants, right? And sometimes it also affects the seniors. So in those cases, I make sure that the seniors are protected. I make sure that the seniors receive the proper instructions or that the proper enforcement to the ordinance to make sure that they're protected. Now, if the new buildings, new developers develop these buildings, we need to make sure that there is senior affordable units in those buildings. So as the senior is transitioning from a home that they no longer probably can take care of on their own because maybe they're of age that they can't repair it, then there should be a senior assisted living or seniors apartment that they are able to transition into.
Thank you. Time's up. Thank you for your response.
And I think that this is why Team Solomon, myself, we are definitely pushing to make Jersey City affordable for everyone. For our seniors especially, we will push for 20% of affordability to rents that are realistic for seniors. And we want to make sure that these places are well lit for our seniors, that there's transportation access for our seniors. And it goes into public safety as well, making sure that our areas are, they're safe for our seniors to walk in. Thank you.
I think Jersey City have a lot of housing for seniors, but a lot of those places are full of people like supposed to meet in those apartments. I think we should go to those apartments and make sure the people in those apartments belong there. You don't belong there. You should go to a new place and put the people who belong in those apartments our seniors. That's why they work hard in Jersey City for all their life. So I'm planning to do that. If I get elected, the first thing I would do is go to those housing and make sure the people on those housing belong there. Now they need to move and give it to somebody who deserves it. Wow.
Thank you, David.
When I've been talking to the seniors in Ward B, a lot of the time what we come to see is that they have lost family members at this point in their life. They don't have access to community anymore. They have trouble getting around. And then sometimes, for a lot of them, their fixed income cannot pay their property taxes anymore, so they have to let go of their housing. We need to make sure, and this is why it's a big thing for Team Ali, that we have a lot of vacant lots in Jersey City that we can allocate for specific needs. And one of those needs is senior housing, to ensure that we give fixed income individuals who gave all of their life to this city a way to live with dignity and obviously prosperity. Thank you.
Do you mind repeating the question? Thank you.
Where do you see longtime residents that are now seniors residing after selling their homes they can no longer manage or afford?
Thank you. So it's an interesting phrasing of the question. I mean, I hope that we would fight to keep them here. And that's why I'm running on universal rent control. The rent control that we have now, we need, as I said in an earlier answer, we need to beef up the funding for landlord tenants so the rent leveling board can hear more cases, adjudicate more cases, keep people in their homes. Bill is someone who has worked with the senior community for decades. Including just simple quality of life things like the free movie day that was cut. He got that reinstated through the county, and that's a small thing. Affordability is a real problem here. That's why we've done workshops for seniors to apply for the anchor benefit and the senior freeze program. And that is not enough. So we need to do more. Thank you.
Thank you. So now it's Janet, right? I think we'll do seconds for the next question.
Okay.
Many residents are frustrated with inconsistent services like street cleaning, trash pickup, and snow removal. How would you improve these day-to-day services?
Okay. I'm a sanitation manager. I work for DPW. I handle your snow, I handle your trash, I handle your street sweeping, and I handle guys on the street, right? The biggest problem that the city is facing right now is employment. We can't get enough people employed to do the job, right? But what we do have is guys who actually work, put in the time to make sure that everything is running as scheduled. What I would do is advocate for more hiring to provide more service for the residents. The snow carries a lot for what we do, and a lot of times we run into a situation where the resident is not actually, didn't move his car or didn't come out, and then the snow was thrown back into the street and we have to come back and plow it back through. So the mission that I'm gonna do for Ward B is ask for more workers and to make sure I get all those things covered.
Thank you, Janet.
So when we talk about street cleaning, trash pickup, snow removal, I found that in Ward B, it doesn't necessarily happen right away. Downtown gets paid attention to a lot more sooner than we do over here. And so as your council person, I would push for those services to be back to at the top of the priority list. We need to fix our basic services first. For example, the Westside Partnership hires a private company to do the street cleaning here. But if we were to do that properly as a city, then the Westside Partnership can turn those funds over to the businesses directly and they can operate better. Thank you.
Many residents are frustrated with inconsistent services like street cleaning, trash pickup, and snow removal. How would you improve these day-to-day services?
He was talking about like he don't find employees. I was trying to find more employees, but also if the machine don't do the work, the sweepers, why we spending money on that? Try to cut out and use the working force, like I call it, and also go to the communities and get communities leaders like help me. They want to help to clean too, to keep it clean because the streets are clean. The less sweepers we need to do, and the snow. I will be outside helping the people who remove the snow. That's something. If I get elected, I will be outside. I'll be working with you guys because I will get elected too, not to be in the office, also be in the street too, and also get people to help me out with the cleaning. Not only the people who work for the city, we can get a community too.
Thank you.
So I agree with Lorena, obviously remunicipalizing the trash services. It's very easy. We should be counting out vendors, making sure that we have it inside of our city. We should be hiring more. And I think city coordination is critical. Sometimes you have one department doing something without a liaison to another department, and then everything's redundant, right? So city coordination is critical, especially like, for example, when we pave streets. They'll pave it today, and then back tomorrow, they have to fix a pipe underneath it, then they have to patch it up, and now all of a sudden you're back to speed bumps, right? So the point here is making sure that we hire locally, making sure that we remunicipalize what we need, and obviously, city coordination, very simple.
Thank you. Yeah, so in 2021, I ran on bringing the trash back, sanitation back into the city, remunicipalizing it. And I'm glad to hear other folks are supporting that as well. I think that speaks to the fact that people are dissatisfied with the service that we're getting. Union City has sanitation in-house, and it's pretty clean there. So I think bringing that in, hiring locally, having people take pride in having clean streets, that will make a big difference. In terms of snow removal, I agree with Lorena, downtown, other parts of the city do get prioritized. And just as a council person, I would be super responsive, give us a call, we'll be there, make sure that that particular area gets cleared. Seniors, people with disabilities, prioritizing their accessibility and snow removal. Thank you.
Thank you, Joel.
I agree with everyone on this panel about what we need to do, but basically what I would do if I was would be councilman is to make sure, just like Mr. Hill said, we should hire more street cleaners to work for our city, especially during the summertime. I just had a conversation with two different groups, one on Harrison and one on Virginia. And their concern is during the summertime, it's very more hectic than any other. So why not hire more people to work in the city for the summertime, to work with our DPW and our Department of Works to make sure that the streets are clean, the garbage are picked up. Now for snow removal, I'm not gonna brag. I do know a couple of local snow removal small businesses that are dying for contracts for the city, and they're not getting them because they're being pushed out or outbidded from the people that are getting the contracts from downtown. I would try to make sure that they get that contract for Ward B to make sure that our streets are clean for Ward B during snow removal. They are dying for work, but they're not getting it because they're getting looked over for the ones downtown. Thank you.
Okay, so this will be our last question of the evening. So I'm trying to pick a question that will resonate across the board. I think I have, we'll do 60 seconds, Kayla, as a response. How will you make sure green spaces are safe, clean, and accessible for all residents, including seniors and families with young children?
So again, it goes back to making sure that our basic services are taken care of first. We definitely need to invest more in green spaces here in Ward B. We need community gardens. We have a lot of opportunities for that in this part of the ward. We have the park, Boyd McGinnis Park, which is amazing, and there's a lot of opportunity to create some things there. Audubon Park is great, and so we want to make sure that we're using native plants. That's something that I did while I was at the McKinley Square SID. I brought that into the district, and it helped bring the community together because the business owners, the residents, everybody was, they were proud of the district and what we were bringing into it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll repeat it. How will you make sure green spaces are safe, clean, and accessible for all residents, including seniors and families with young children?
You talk to the park, the creation and park, that's the one, they are the one who take care of the green stones, right? Talk to them, make sure they can enforce the law and help us with the situation with the dogs and they pee and cock everywhere. Put more bags in every corner like that when they do Number two, they can pick it up and keep it clean and enforce the law and make sure that everybody clean the area. If you hang out in that area and you trust, make sure you take the garbage you bring with you, take it with you too.
Thank you.
I think this question starts with a transformative change, right? If we want people to respect green spaces, if we want them to be a part of green spaces, they first have to understand what is a green space. So actually, one of the things that I wanted to install as a councilman is this walk and talk program, where we can walk in green spaces in different parts of the ward, sit together after and discuss what did we see, the clean air, how we can respect our space for our kids, make sure that all the litter that we usually see are picked up. We must also apply for grants and funding from the county and the state level to help us ensure the amenities are up to par and in terms of services. So hopefully one day you could join me for the walk and talk and we together can find out the beauty of green spaces.
Thank you. Ooh, there it goes. Good thing it's empty. Okay. So in terms of making sure our green spaces are safe and accessible, city parks need bathrooms. Yeah. Anybody who's a parent, you have your little one, we need bathrooms. Bill, who I'm cross-endorsed with, make sure that Lincoln Park is, that it's safe, that it's clean, that it's always improving, that the workers feel respected here. And so they come to work every day ready to make Lincoln Park what it is, which is great. And so I think that we can take that ethos and that philosophy from Lincoln Park, which is a county park, to our city parks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. Green spaces are quality of life in Jersey City, especially in Ward B and the whole of Jersey City, not just Lincoln Park. And I agree with Joel. When I was younger, we had small bathrooms here. They were workable. We had fountains that were here. We made sure that the kids, and I was a kid, we made sure that it was accessible as to play. Making sure that the kids have a place to run around and feel safe. Make sure you have a place to walk your dog. But there's also green spaces need to be built in other parts of Ward B as well. There's places down on Stevens Avenues where there are lots that are not being used. There are green spaces there being locked up. So we need to make sure that we contact our directors of parks, make sure we get with them, and make sure that they understand that we need these places open. We make sure they need places clean, make sure we need places safe, that our bathrooms work, that our fountains work, and to make sure that our lights work, to make sure that when the adequate time for us to be there, we're there. When adequate time for pedestrians not to be there, they're not there. So I think we need to get with our Parks Department and really make a change, really make their development change.
Thank you, Travis.
Green space is essential to mental health, right? So when you see spaces that are green, trees are growing, it provides a calm to your mental state, which allows you to relax and think and feel that the air itself, right? So Team Joyce has been doing that. If you take a ride on MLK, there are now trees on MLK. So we're trying to push a green space and a green field throughout the city. Ward B has trees. Growing up here, it was trees in front of almost in every house. Now the trees are gone. We need to bring those trees back. We need to provide the neighborhood to become an essential place mentally. When you walk the neighborhood, you feel the neighborhood. You should be able to not worry about if it's dog poop there, if it's bottles there or cans. We all live in the homes, we all live in the buildings. We should make sure we maintain in front of our buildings, maintain in front of our homes, so that each person that comes out of their home or that's walking through can have a free and clear mental state. Thank you.
Thank you. So I believe that concludes our forum for Ward B. Thank all the candidates. I know how it feels to be there, so you all did a great job. Thank you for sharing your insight, your thoughts, your beliefs, and your plans should you get elected.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
We're gonna announce, we have, refreshments.
We have refreshments corner, and we're gonna have a mingle time. You can mingle and chat with the candidates.